Tonight on WTOP 10 Nightly News, an update on the Trump Organization's trial for alleged tax fraud and grand larceny.
Plus, job seekers in New York City will soon be able to view salary information in job advertisements.
And President Biden visits Syracuse to talk about the new Micron plant coming to central New York.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Scott Brubaker.
And I'm Kaylee Richmond.
President Biden visited Onondaga Community College to discuss Micron's $100 billion plant coming to Clay, New York. The plant, which is going to be built over the next several years, is set to bring more than 40,000 jobs to the Syracuse area.
President Biden spoke at OCC on Thursday, saying this plant is the biggest investment in American manufacturing history. The president also says he has high hopes for the future of the country, especially when it comes to the current generation.
I look out at the younger generation. It's the best educated generation, the least prejudiced, the most engaged, and the least self-serving generation in American history.
And those tiny chips you've been hearing all about power everything from our phones to medical equipment and even our car tires.
Currently, the United States gets most of its microchips from other countries, but the new Micron investment is supposed to bring most production back to the U.S.
The Oswego City Police Department is cautioning drivers to slow their speed tonight on Halloween. The police department tweeted Happy Halloween wishes earlier today, while also saying they expect more pedestrians on the roads tonight than usual. They also are urging drivers to be alert for pedestrians who may unexpectedly come from between parked cars or shrubbery.
SUNY Oswego says it takes its students and faculty's mental health very seriously. In order to continue the campus's culture of well-being, SUNY Oswego's HERF committee is awarding $25,000 to support high-impact mental health projects. Each proposed project has a cap of $2,500. Faculty and students are encouraged to submit an application. To apply, contact the Office of Communications and Marketing at proffice@oswego.edu.
A Mexico, New York woman is dead after being struck by a car last night in Volney. State police say Megan DeLong Han was walking on State Route 3 when she was hit. Police say she was hit by Michael Girano around 9 p.m. and taken to the hospital where she was later declared dead. Troopers say an investigation into the accident is underway.
Governor Kathy Hochul's office says applications for the Home Energy Assistance Program, also known as HEAP, will open in New York on November 1st. The federally funded program can provide up to $976 to help low and middle income households pay for heat. Funding is provided on a first-come, first-served basis, so the office says applicants should not wait to apply. Residents of New York City can visit mybenefits.ny.gov to complete an application.
The Trump Organization trial for alleged tax fraud and grand larceny began in Manhattan this morning. Prosecutors are accusing the company of running a 15-year scheme to help its executives dodge taxes by granting them lavish perks, all off the books. Trump's longtime finance chief Alan Weisselberg, who pled guilty, has agreed to testify against the company in exchange for a 5-month jail sentence. If convicted, the Trump Organization could be fined more than $1 million.
If you're seeking jobs in the Big Apple, starting November 1st, you will be able to see an expected salary range. New York City will require employers to disclose a pay range in all job ads, including promotion and transfer opportunities. This law will allow job seekers a better idea of what many employers are willing to pay.
WTOP 10 Nightly News was off the air this weekend, but important local news was still happening.
Let's take a look at what you might have missed. It's time for a weekend recap.
The Oswego Hospital is agreeing to pay nearly $100,000 involving allegations that it violated the False Claims Act. The hospital has alleged to have improperly billed Medicare and Medicaid outpatient services for mental health. The complaint came from a whistleblower who worked for Oswego Health, who first filed the complaint in 2019.
If you live in Syracuse, a new report says if you live in one of the best places in America, The U.S. World Report released the rankings for the 2022-2023, where Syracuse was named one of the best American cities to live in.
And a total of 4 cities in upstate New York were ranked amongst the top 50, with Albany being ranked the highest of the 4. The rankings were based on average salaries, unemployment rates, median household incomes, and crime rates, among other factors. And our chief meteorologist, Evan Biedron, is here in the studio with an especially spooky look at this week's weather.
Evan, how's the weather for the trick-or-treaters tonight?
Well, for tonight, we can see those on and off showers as we saw throughout the day today. Stick around. Heading into tomorrow, we can see the same exact system stay throughout the area, giving those spotty showers. As you can tell, those showers give me a bit of an empty feeling in the inside. Temperatures will increase later in the week. We can see a nice weekend ahead with temperatures increasing into the upper 60s, maybe even the low 70s. And happy Halloween, everybody. I will have your full forecast coming up after the break. Back to you guys at the desk.
Right, thank you, Evan. Coming up later tonight, mourning is happening after an American college student is among the dead in South Korea.
And the midterm elections are just over a week away, and early voting is starting in many states. More when we come back.
The Kinda Late Show with Chloe and Anna. Like licorice, Twizzlers, absolutely nasty. The thought of turkey is just nauseating.
I think you're wrong, is what I think.
You think I'm wrong a lot of time.
I do think you're wrong a lot.
Look at that, it's so sad.
Here's our weather elements and our social media Saturday. And that's all.
Welcome back to WTOP. I'm your Storm Team 10 meteorologist, Evan Biedron. And here's a quick look at tonight's forecast. You can see at 10 p.m., you can see those lingering on and off showers throughout the area for those trick-or-treaters just coming in from their night. Temperatures around 56, 2 a.m. Temperatures will be around the same range, about the mid-50s, with those rain showers moving out of the area, bringing in cooler conditions. And as we head off to work and school tomorrow morning, you can see temperatures staying around the mid-50s, but those on and off showers returning due to an approaching warm front out of the west. And taking a quick look at our sleepcast, we can see that temperatures being in the mid-50s, maybe having the heat on will not be the best option for you tonight, but a heavy blanket and a hot coffee may be just your best bet for tomorrow as you head off to work. And looking at your surface map, we can see that warm front off to our west in a second if it shows up. Actually, no, tomorrow, we can see, again, those on and off showers sticking throughout the area with a south wind of 6 to 9 miles per hour. Temperatures will increase into the low 60s, though, so we can see more mild conditions tomorrow, unlike these past few days where we can see temperatures in the lower 50s, the mid-50s, and maybe putting on a light jacket as you head out the door. And for our extended forecast, you can see on Tuesday, again, those temperatures in the low 60s, low around 48, scattered showers again. Kind of the same story as it was today. We saw showers more towards the late afternoon, but these showers will be sticking around more towards the morning and early afternoon, tapering off more towards the nighttime hours. Wednesday, we can see temperatures at upper 50s, low of around 43, mostly sunny. The sun will be sticking around throughout most of the week due to approaching high pressure system coming out from the Midwest and those low pressures moving out into the Atlantic. Thursday, again, temperatures will be increasing. This will be more of about the low 60s, mid 60s. So you can probably ditch those jackets as you head out the door in the morning. Low of around 49. And for Friday and Saturday, we can see those temperatures reach the mid 60s to the upper 60s with a good chance of hitting the 70s later into the weekend, about Sunday, maybe even Saturday afternoon, as long as those clouds stay throughout the area. Mostly sunny and warm, again, lows in the lower 50s. And back to you guys at the desk.
Right, thank you, Evan. The 2022 midterm elections are a week from Tuesday, and more than 21 million Americans have already voted. According to election officials, 21.4 million American people have cast their pre-election ballots so far in 46 states. New state polling from the New York Times and Siena College finds some of the races could be very tight. According to the polling, Democratic incumbents in Nevada and Georgia are in close contests with their GOP challengers.
Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, remains in the hospital after the violent attack at his home in San Francisco on Friday. Meanwhile, the alleged attacker was charged today. Mike Valerio has the details.
The man who allegedly attacked Paul Pelosi, the husband of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, at the couple's home in San Francisco, charged with assault and attempted kidnapping today.
The investigation is ongoing, so there's a lot left to do in this case. And we're just moving along and doing the best we can to get the evidence that we can get to our prosecutors.
Police say 42-year-old David DePape entered the home through a back door. Pelosi was able to call 911 at the start of the attack. Officers say they saw DePape violently assault Pelosi with a hammer before they tackled him to the ground and arrested him.
They were actually trying to make target identification, saying, "Where is Nancy?" All of this eliminates the narrative that this is a crime of opportunity broadly.
Even though police have not released a clear motive, authorities believe the attack was intentional.
Definitely, in my mind's eye, there was more to it. It wasn't just the assault, but there's a potential kidnapping or a potential hostage situation here. All very serious.
DePape, described by those who knew him as an odd character, posted memes and conspiracy theories on Facebook about COVID vaccines, the 2020 election, and the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The assault has renewed conversation on political violence.
I mean, it's horrific, and it's horrible, and it shouldn't happen anywhere.
We've got to say, we can have a heated conversation about the issues, but this violence has got to stop.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
The heart of the nightlife district in Seoul, South Korea is now a place of heartbreak. After 155 people were killed Saturday night, crushed as a large crowd tried to move through a narrow alley. One of them was Stephen Belsey, a 20-year-old college student from Georgia. Belsey was a junior at Kennesaw State University. He'd only been in South Korea for 2 months when the tragedy happened. But Belsey's dad said he knew his son was going out with friends that night because he just finished midterms.
We knew that him and his friends were going to go out because they just finished midterms. And I texted him through WhatsApp because he's over there and all. And said, I know you're out and about, but be safe. I love you. I feel like I have a hole in me, a big hole in my chest.
Belsey was one of 2 Americans killed that night, and 3 other Americans were hurt.
North Korea is warning the U.S. and South Korea to halt large-scale military drills. South Korea and the U.S. started week-long military drills on Monday. They will involve more than 100 warplanes over South Korean airspace. North Korea says it may take more powerful follow-up measures if the exercises continue.
And coming up later tonight, consumers are spending big on Halloween goodies this year. But which generation is spending the most?
And Taylor Swift makes chart-topping history with her new album, Midnights.
I love you.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Remember the best planned 90 minutes of your life? Or that surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Hey, can you chop the pineapple? Chop the pineapple.
Nope, I'm high. How about I wash off the grapes?
Yes.
Okay.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
I want tacos. Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope, I'm high. Let's order in.
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Here's your health and consumer report.
Doctors are saying it's shaping up to be a severe season for the respiratory syncytial virus infections known as RSV. But we could have an RSV vaccine in the United States by next fall. 4 vaccines could be nearing review by the FDA, and more than a dozen others are in testing. A long-acting injection designed to be given right after birth is also in the works. RSV infects the lower lungs and causes a hacking cough. It may also lead to severe complications.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention director has tested positive for COVID-19 again after testing negative last week. The CDC announced Monday that Dr. Rochelle Walensky tested positive on Sunday. The agency says she experienced mild symptoms last week, but tested negative after receiving treatment. Sunday, she started developing mild symptoms again and tested positive for the virus. Walensky is up to date on her COVID-19 vaccines and says she plans to isolate at home.
The National Retail Federation says participation and spending this Halloween is expected to return to pre-pandemic levels. In today's Consumer Watch, a look at who is spending the most this spooky season and on what.
Inflation and recession fears not scaring away trick-or-treaters this spooky season. According to the National Retail Federation, Halloween spending could reach a record level this fall.
They're planning to celebrate in more ways than they did during the pandemic, but they may be a little bit more budget conscious.
The NRF says 69% are planning to celebrate this year. That's up from 65% last year, and 1 percentage higher than 2019. The NRF expects Americans will spend $10.6 billion this year, despite soaring prices.
We know that inflation is certainly top of mind for consumers, but what we're hearing so far is that people are still prioritizing the holiday.
The NRF says consumers plan to spend an average of $100 this holiday. Costumes are the biggest expense at $3.6 billion, followed by decorations at $3.4 billion and candy at $3.1 billion. The NRF also says younger consumers, Gen Z, are celebrating more than any other age group.
Consumers under the age of 25 are turning out in full force. About 87% say they're planning to celebrate the holiday this year, and we're seeing the highest levels of spending in areas like adult costumes that we've seen in about 5 years.
Now that COVID-related restrictions are easing, they're more comfortable partying, going on bar crawls, and attending social gatherings. The NRF says they're also putting a focus on dressing up this year.
They're getting inspiration from TikTok, from Instagram, from Pinterest, and other social platforms.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Meanwhile, 1 in 5 people plan to put their pet in a costume. Pet spending is expected to exceed last year's record high, reaching $710 million.
Elon Musk is already making big changes to Twitter after taking over the company. According to a security filing, Musk discovered Twitter's sitting board of directors. The fling says all previous members of Twitter's board are no longer directors. The announcement comes after Musk closed his deal to acquire Twitter on Thursday and quickly terminated at least 4 of its top executives, including the former CEO.
And another change Elon Musk is considering bringing to Twitter, charging users for verified accounts marked by a blue check. The blue check mark lets people know that an account of public interest is authentic or verified. It's especially helpful for celebrities and influential accounts. According to internal Twitter documents, the update would have verified users paying $19.99 a month for the subscription service. It's unclear if some verified users may be exempt from paying the fee.
In entertainment news, Taylor Swift is now the first artist to ever claim all top 10 spots of the Billboard Hot 100. According to the Billboard, the Hot 100 list blends all genre U.S. streaming, radio airplay, and sales data.
Number 1 this week is her song Anti-Hero, the lead single on Swift's 10th studio album Midnights. The rest of the 9 slots were from other tracks on the album, including Lavender Haze and Karma. And here in Oswego, we have a big week of college sports coming up.
Our sports director, Thomas Turgeon, is here in the studio. Thomas, what can Laker fans expect this week?
Thanks, guys. When we come back, we will recap some Laker playoff action as well as what was going on Football Sunday. All this and more coming up after the break.
Only on WTOP.
DeCarlo on the rebound! Alex DeCarlo!
Yeah, it's been a wild game so far. A lot of high scoring, so definitely tighten it up and play out that full 60 minutes.
Welcome back to the best show on WTOP 10 out on our own Oswego.
Did you hear that Bad Bunny's going to be in Canada over spring break, you know?
I heard that one.
Drink coffee. The week.
Oh my God.
Roll it.
The Kinda Late Show with Chloe and Anna.
Like licorice, Twizzlers, absolutely nasty.
The thought of turkey is just nauseating.
I think you're wrong, is what I think.
You think I'm wrong a lot of time.
I do think you're wrong a lot.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Thomas Turgeon with your Monday Night Sports Report. We start off tonight in North Country, where the Oswego State women's soccer team would face off against the Plattsburgh Cardinals in a 4-versus-5 matchup in the SUNYAC quarterfinal. The Lakers would battle with their rivals for the full 90 minutes before going to overtime, where Gracia Madden would capitalize for Oswego State as the Lakers would hold on to the lead through both overtime halves and capture the upset against the 11-6-2 Cardinals. Oswego will face Cortland with a trip to the championship on the line Wednesday at 1 p.m. Moving back to home at the Deborah F. Stanley Ice Arena, where Rachel Corbett and the Oswego State women's hockey team would face off against her sister Emma and the number 12 ranked Adrian Bulldogs for their regular season home opener. The Bulldogs would dominate on every aspect, taking the goal trio, scoring even strength on the power play as well as shorthanded to take a sounding 5-0 victory on Saturday afternoon. Oswego looks to turn things around on Friday against Potsdam at Maxey Hall. Moving down to the Big Apple, where the New York Rangers were in action Sunday night, facing off against the Arizona Coyotes. The Rangers would escape with the victory after trailing 2-1 before scoring 2 unanswered to secure the win 3-2. Artemi Panarin would be not just the bread man, but the star of the game, tallying 1 goal and 2 assists on the night. The Blue Shirts are back in action on Tuesday when they face off against the Philadelphia Flyers. Staying in the Big Apple, where the New York Jets were in action against the New England Patriots in an AFC East divisional matchup. Although the Jets would have more touchdowns than New England, the Patriots would rely heavily on kicker Nick Folk, who would be critical, nailing all 5 field goal attempts to seal the deal. New England now improves to a .500 record at 4-4, where the Jets now sit at 5-3 on the year and 1-3 at home so far, and will also face off against the AFC-leading Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Kickoff set for 1 p.m. at MetLife Stadium and can be viewed on CBS. But we mentioned the AFC East, Josh Allen in action on Sunday Night Football as they face off against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Late first quarter, 2nd and goal, Josh Allen jukes and jives with a little floater to Dawson Knox in the end zone with his 2nd touchdown in 2 straight weeks. Early 2nd quarter, Allen in the pocket, launches one deep, 26 yards, finds Stephon Diggs, who would have 6 receptions on the day. Buffalo up now 14-0. Mid-2nd quarter, Packers at the Bills 20. Rodgers, that bad man, finding Romeo Doubs for the 19-yard dime. He led the team in receiving yards. Bills cut the lead to 7. Just catch out that catch right there. Unbelievable. But at the 2-minute warning at half, Bills in the red zone. Josh Allen to Isaiah McKenzie down the left side, tucks it in for the score. The Bills dominant as a 7-yard rush. The Bills up 24-7 at the half. Late 4th quarter, Aaron Rodgers scrambling, trying to cut this lead back down. Keeps juking and jiving in the back, sends one deep, finds Samori Toure for the 37-yarder, but that wouldn't be enough as the Packers would fall by 10 to the Bills, who will also travel to play Detroit on Saturday. So a big test for Aaron next week. The Bills, they are rolling. Stick around, we'll have a spooky story for you when we come back.
The central and midwestern U.S. averages more than 850 tornadoes each year, and lately, the number of floods has been rising in the region too. So chances are, there will be more twisters and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are, you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
All right, for our final story of the night, we have an image of the sun captured by the NASA Observatory that looks a bit like a jack-o'-lantern.
It shows what are actually splotches on the sun's surface that are cooler than the surrounding areas.
While NASA calls it a smiling sun, some Twitter users saw a jack-o'-lantern.
Other Twitter users compared the image to the Puff Marshmallow Man from the movie Ghostbusters.
Now that is pretty cool. Wish I get a chance to see that. Your costumes, guys.
Yeah.
Turge, what are you dressed up as?
Listen, I had to be a sports guy. Cole
Sports
Caulfield,
guy.
one of my favorite players.
Evan, what about you?
A basic green sweater. I just wanted to be a floating hat on screen. Not many chances to do that, being a weatherman.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's our report for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for On Deck. I'm Cosmo.
And I'm Wanda. Thank you for watching. Have a great night and happy Halloween.